the Aluphone is a fantastic addition to all musicians, to composers, and most of all to our audiences. And it has just this fantastic, unique sound that is very versatile indeed. And you know, we have pitch ranges that are really very powerful, actually very low sounds and very high sounds, and we're still very much developing that arena. So it's absolutely a crucial instrument, I think, for any percussionist and musician to experience. Obviously, I'm always encouraging composers to just sort of know about the Aluphone, to think that this is an important addition, really, to the percussion family. And then the wonderful thing, you know, I have are the individual alu bells and the alu tree as well. And that's been particularly useful in projects such as the Not So Silent movies, where I'm actually improvising to black and white old movies, you know, which is fantastic. One of the very, very recent projects I've been involved with has been with a dance company, and where the percussionist, and I wrote the score for this particular piece, I'm actually integrating myself with the dancers rather than just standing playing something and the dancers are over there. So I'm actually really integrating with those dancers. And so we used some of the individual alu bells, and this was very interesting because the audience members, and we had a rough cut version of this in front of an audience, and they were asking, what are those bells? Because it created a very interesting sensation for them as listeners. And whether it was the harmonics, the resonance, I'm not quite sure, but it was something that they sat up and really noticed that sound. And that doesn't often happen, actually. You know, you may be moved by a piece of music, and but the actual sound they had specifically picked out. And there's a moment in the whole sequence where I bring the alu bells and I'm sort of literally creating the sound up and down the dancer, who is absolutely still in their posture. And they said that they found it very difficult to remain still when this sound was sort of being seeped through their body. And again, it's something to do with the resonance or the harmonics. I'm not quite sure what it is. And they really had to concentrate unbelievably to not be swayed by this sound and almost the pulsation of it. So again, it was just something that you don't often experience in that way, or for people to describe it like that. So I was really intrigued.
Have you tried to play it together with the marimba set up on the other side of the marimba, so you can play both instruments at the same time?
No, I haven't yet. I've seen you do that, which is incredible, and that actually works very well indeed. So, I mean, that's something I need to, you know, I need to give a go. I need to give it a go. I have a new concerto by the British composer Mark Bowden, who has written a percussion concerto, and this will be with the BBC Welsh Orchestra. We record the piece in January of 2014, and we give then performances of it in, I think it's March, April, May, sometime like that next year. And so he's incorporated the Aluphone. So I'm very happy about that, because then, you know, we have a pretty strong platform to have the instrument displayed. Again, this was just an example of, you know, showing the composer the instrument, who was completely, you know, enthralled by it and wanted to include it in the percussion setup. So for me, it's important to, as I say, get a strong composition, get a good platform for it, you know. The fact that it is one of the BBC orchestras means that it is going to be recorded, you know. But also this piece of music will be incorporated with dance. So although in the recording and in the live performance we'll do the straight concerto version, percussion and orchestra, later next year we'll have two options, where the recorded version will then be taken to a dance company who will choreograph to the piece of music, and we're also creating a version where I can play the piece literally, you know, in a live situation with the dancers as well. So we have some extra possibilities there that are currently being worked on. So that's fantastic. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Evelyn Glennie, could you please explain about the ways you create different sounds on the Aluphone and the playing technique on the Aluphone?
Well, I think the beauty of the Aluphone and the most striking thing is actually when you do use very soft mallets, you know, and just to get this very and really you have the time to let the sound go, or you can muffle it, dampen it, how you want to do. And striking it right on the edge will give you the wonderful sort of round blooming sound. However, closer to the top here is equally interesting. So don't assume that there's only one place that you can strike it. I really like to explore all the territories, all the striking area really. So soft mallets will just give you this wonderful sound where you're asking the audience to come to you with it. However, you know, even if I use a soft mallet, strike it, then so striking and then bowing is one aspect, or you can just simply bow it. And by pressing the bow, you can get a wonderful sort of and it's almost as though you're playing a waterphone, where you're just, ooh, not quite sure what's going to come out there, but and you can have a couple of bows. You can really do what you want there, but just imagine the bow as literally a tool that you can do really all sorts of things with. So although that's actually quite interesting because of that very strange kind of rubbing effect there, what I was really... So that's really quite interesting. And don't forget that when you're recording this, you know, the microphone will pick up every tiny element of the sound, the journey of the sound. So, you know, it's really, really good to really notice and focus in on exactly the whole process of what the tool is doing really, and it's a great opportunity to use the whole surface. So almost take your brush technique that you might use on the drums or something. See what happens when you apply it. I've got here some little shells, and I mean, there's all sorts of things that you could possibly use, you know, as far as little rattles or... these tiny sticks have a little sparkle. It's really, really beautiful. I think the dynamic range is really fantastic because you can really get a hard it can have an off-stage effect, or it can be very, very present and just hugely threatening in a way, or just to compare again the beauty. I mean, this is just a tiny amount of tools, but to really explore the possibilities here, and I think it would really stretch the ensemble, whether it's an orchestra or string ensemble or percussion ensemble, dynamically. I think they would really, their dynamic range would have to be enormous in order to cope with this instrument, because it's possible if just the whisper, truly nothing, to something that's very powerful indeed. So, I mean, this is fantastic because of the incredible. It's more like the presence of the sound that is just. It's just fantastic, It's just really. It's more like a feeling rather than the sound, and for the audience, you can have something that's moving, and I may not even be touching the surface, and they'll imagine the sound, and the instrument is really capable of that. And not many instruments are actually, but this is one where you could really play with the audience, orally, and the illusion of sound. But it's just so fantastic that you barely have to move the mallets, and there's something there, there really is. There's a kind of presence to it all, and it's fantastic. So again, you could mix the mallets up, maybe a soft one here, maybe a harder one here, another type of mallet here, or a bow, or another type of tool altogether, and suddenly, it may appear as though 2 or 3 people are playing the instrument. So very, very powerful indeed. I think this is just a hugely important range or addition to the main Aluphone. I think this is really terrific.
Great.
Fantastic. This is really beautiful. Yeah, it is.